I see a lot of suspicious lurkers out there in this Trekyards situation. Welcome back, guys. He's Commander Cockings.
He's got a Foley.
And today we're talking Lower Decks. Again, review time for Season 5, Episode 7. And this one is called Fully Dilated.
Last chunk of the season, Stuart. We're in the final leg, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what do you think of Episode 7?
I rather enjoyed it, I gotta say. It's a typical Star Trek trope of a pre-industrial society. And we got a guest star, a legacy, which is great. I mean, it could have been a better story overall. I was looking for something more at the end, for sure. But, we got a purple Enterprise. I hope the carpets match. I mean, that's important. But at least we got started off with the interdimensional fissure thing. We got data. We got a whole lot of really cool stuff. The time went by really quickly, so I wasn't waiting for the... there wasn't anything boring really going on. And important safety rules, no food allowed in the transporter room. There's a reason for that. There's also no smoking signs in like Star Trek The Motion Picture and Star Trek 2. But that's... how about you? What did you think of this one?
I think it's one of the best Lower Decks episodes.
Perfect.
Yep. This is now in the top echelon. Easily the best of the season because it did a lot more than the fun, Starbase 80. It was a much more consistent story, a much better story. Every character got something meaningful, both small and big. The legacy was both perfectly placed, perfectly used, in it enough to be justified. And this should be every goddamn episode of Lower Decks. Or every other episode, right? You have something big, you bring a legacy to add a bit of flair that's not necessarily, doesn't have to be there, but add something, and you tell a cool story. This should be every single episode, because this is what Lower Decks, to me, should be doing. Because it did, like I said, the classic trope, but in a super unique way. Because you can't do this level of, just if you're doing it live action, just building all the props of the fruit would take quite a while. Just to have that gag work, but for animation, it's really easy. Or just the data head effect would be annoying in live action. It's really easy here, etc. And again, no Brent de-age, don't worry, right? So this is how you do a Lower Decks story in the format it can do. And I love the joke of Mariner living out her flute time in jail the whole time. Really clever gag, simple, in character, but she didn't overdo it. Like, she felt like, just used to it, hung out, it's all good. But also, like I said, the way she dealt with it was her growth, which I liked. A little bit too many times in the episode, they reference episode titles, which they can't know.
Well, the Carbon Creek incident would probably be documented, maybe.
I don't know why it'd be called necessarily Carbon Creek. It'd be called, Vulcan Survey. Tendi and Tallinn. I like the story, although the setup's weird because Tendi's a medical officer, not a science officer. And yes, medical has some science, but science is... So she wouldn't be the bridge science officer because she's not properly equipped for that. So it's like the EMH being assigned to the bridge science officer. It's like, well, he knows science, like he could. It's like, so I don't know why because they've always had Tallinn and her be very different postings. So they didn't make sense from the start, and she's not expressed that she's swapping division entirely. It's a small thing, but I guess it's not a small thing. Just because she's in blue doesn't mean she can do the same posting, because there are way better scientists aboard, like, Tallinn, etc. But yeah, one of the best Lower Decks, and I wish every episode or every other episode was this, take a legacy. But I'm guessing Brent was twice as expensive as Tom, Rob Duncan McNeil, or 3 times expensive. So they're like, we can only afford, if we're going to do bigger ones, we can only afford to have 3. So let's bring in 3 big ones, because if you'd said in season 1 we'd get Frakes and Brent. But if this is the only legacy, I'll be very disappointed. But if this now starts the trend of legacies, I'll be happy. But yeah, why isn't every episode about the rifts and a legacy? This should be every episode.
Funny you mentioned the episode title, so I was going to mention that too. I like the Carbon Creek reference. Doesn't necessarily mean the title of the episode, but it happened at Carbon Creek. She would have maybe read the report and knew that. The Inner Light thing was fine. This is my Picard moment, my family moment. Reference the Voyager episode with the time dilation, and then
which I love as a concept. I'm always a huge fan of that as just that storyline.
Yeah, and the Data's Head episode as well.
Yep, he waited.
But not title-wise. Like, I kind of disagree with you a little bit on that one. Schnell, I really thought when we first saw him that he was actually a Ferengi that was disguised to find something. That's exactly what I thought as soon as he started talking. And that didn't pan out at all. But I love the way they kind of fooled him with the giant grape and made everybody think he was crazy. That was awesome. So, really good character, but he kind of reminded me of Skeletor. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of the guy that plays Baylock. I think he's like that in DS9, isn't he? Kind of like a creeper slightly in that future episode of, that sort of character vibe was like, oh yeah, it's an archetype, right? It's that creepy shadow guy. But that was the joke, and it was having fun with it. But yeah, that was just enough.
And also the reference to, oh, we're from the northern region. Let me guess, Larno. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this was filled with those clever in-universe, like it covers the spectrum, but had a lot of the very clever in-universe logic references that helped scenes just kind of continue at a really wonderful pace, because the thing was really tight in terms of editing and pacing, and it crammed a lot in a year. These gals lived a year together, although Mariner lived, a year in prison. But, a year together.
Kind of annoyed me a little bit as well, because it's like, you spend this many months, you're not locked in that room the entire time. You'd have to come down to eat, you hang out, you socialize.
Not sleep, though.
Well, yeah. So it was one of those glazed over things. Like, yeah, it's been months, but we don't really communicate. And she looks out the window. Oh my God, how'd the melons get so big? Well, I'm sure that took quite a while. You probably were aware of that.
Well, it's the exact same thing as in so many films and TV where they're in a car and they start doing a story, and then suddenly at the airport and they tell the same story. But it's like, so you just waited 2 hours of the trip to then continue? Yes.
I just watched the Wolverine, where she picks him up in the car, and then they drive to the city. And when they get to the city, before he gets out, like, I saw your death. It's like, what did you talk about for the whole trip? Anyway,
so it had that vibe. It's entirely a narrative trope, not a problem. But also, I liked almost all of it, and essentially when you start adding the time to tech ratio, I guess I mentioned Tendy's a doctor, which she is. That's her entire thing, but to show not tell, she did build a powering data device. She did build a improved power. Like, she did that, which is great. You don't highlight it particularly. Wow, she did this. Like, of course she can do that, which is very much feels like Spock in Synergy of Forever. But using old tech. But obviously they had a year, so I like the joke at the end, which we didn't get to, and I appreciate we didn't get to it, that she's trying to build a transporter, and it's a year worth of evolve, tech, whatever. I thought that was a fun thing. Although you would think Data being there is always a giant cheat, because he has all the knowledge, which they didn't even. I was surprised they didn't play into at all the alternate universeness of him, as in he's purple, great purple gags, really like gentle and fun. But everything he says is consistent with our universe. I was expecting more of the fun of like, Geordie, who's he? Oh, he's my husband. It's like, oh. Like playing it for more joke value, because you could do anything with that, right? I mean, obviously the Cedar clone that started was great. I was expecting a few more like those jokes, because Brent can say anything. Like, it's an open door to say whatever hell they want. And they kept it very safe, which is nice. Like, he felt like Data. Although, were you thinking, it's probably for me set an expectation at the end, were you thinking that they were going to actually play that card and have the Enterprise D come out of the rift?
I was just going to say that. Yeah. I would have loved to have seen that, like the message through the rift. Hey, Data's alive.
Yeah,
it kind of concerned me a little bit that the Enterprise crew just buggered off and not investigated the wreckage.
Well, they were chasing them. They were being fought by the Cedar clone. They had to get out there. I thought Data was dead.
True enough. But yeah, I expected the Enterprise to come through at least, and maybe see one other character on the view screen with like a purple hue to the bridge. That's what I was hoping for, and got a little let down. But the Star Trek 3 shooting the torpedo with the flare at the end was kind of cool.
Well, I don't think I'd approve of that plan, because he's got to be picked up. I'd send him in a shuttle and come back.
Or Star Trek 2, sorry. I said Star Trek 3. Star Trek 2, sorry.
Nerd card unrevoked, it's fine. No, I wasn't expecting the D to show up, because they didn't even say Enterprise D in the story, which I thought was interesting. They might have played a caveat of like, oh, that is the E in their timeline, which would have been actually fun by itself if you know the logically Enterprise ED conversion. But yeah, that would have been the cherry on the very delicious cake of having, we've had no legacy so far, really. It's been a very muted season in that regard. To have the D come out, full bridge recreation, Riker, I would assume, have it, because you've already got Frakes, he's in it before, or, I mean, I think Patrick was too expensive, but have Frakes, or even, have Troy be captain, go a little bit silly with it, but give her something different. If you're in full team's uniform, maybe have like the All Good Things badge, which is now the Prodigy badge, play into those tropes a little bit. Hey, have Wesley as a tactical, like that one time. You could have had a very quick scene of them interacting and actually played all of the alternate universe tropes. Or even it could literally have been, get this, that universe, just the purple version, where we see the weird bridge and where's it at the back, like that same bridge, would have been like raised it above to it's already going to be very, very high for me. But that had been like, damn, you waited all this time to give us that.
Yeah.
It's fine, but it would have even been fine to have a joke of it, of having just the source just peek out of the rift, and then shuttle come in, dock, and then go back. Like a joke version would be fine as well, or just the back end. But still a good end, but it would have been bigger for sure.
I was waiting for something more at the end. As soon as I realized it was Data's head, I'm like, oh, okay, there's going to be something else, and there just wasn't. But that's fine. Interesting to know that in their universe, the same events happened. Where yeah, I've been without a body before, and even mentions the 1800s where he had to do the thing. So, and
I liked the way, because Data's always a funny character in that he can't express much, and that lovely naivety. And this is obviously TNG Data, give or take. So this is a really kind of like light version. I liked that he, in that universe, expressed that Tendy's like, so how do you solve the problem? He's like, well, I tried to do a thing and then didn't work, so I just waited. Because he didn't solve the problem, did he? He just sort of yeah, which I like, because you don't really think about it that way, because you see it from our perspective, finding him, not him having to wait. Which I liked. Small thing, but good framing.
We're Captain Picard and so and somebody in a silver jumpsuit came and rescued me. Brett didn't really sound like Data, like he was just doing Brett.
Disagree.
Oh dear, it just definitely sounded odd to me. So.
Oh no, it sounded like Data, but Brent is significantly older, and you can kind of hear that he can't control his lips as much. It's like Christopher Lloyd. He can't do it. Okay, Scott. Like he just can't. You're getting older. You can't do it. So he sounded like he was trying. I thought he was doing a great job acting like Data, but his vocals just aren't. They're not the same as they were 25 years ago. So I thought acting it was very good. The fact he still got it is impressive, because that isn't Picard Data. It's Data. So he had to be like the same as 30 years ago. But voice, you can't really change it that much, right?
Yeah. No, I thought it sounded off personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's all the problem. If we expect young Data, we hear old Data, the brains are going to disconnect because it isn't young Data, right? Which is why, had it been, say, the Picard era Data, you could have made it as a time portal as well, whatever. Just saying. What do you think of the Mariner subplot of her being in jail for basically a year?
It's fine. I love that she was trying to do something special like Picard did.
Yeah.
To live more of a life or learn something or make a friend or family. And it just backfired on her, but not because she got to know some murderers and stuff.
Well, only two murderers.
I know, only two were, but can I bring them with me? No.
I tried.
Bye.
No, it was yeah. For me, it was a really fun arc because I really liked, and we said this previously, Tendi getting a proper role, and it wasn't just Orion stuff. It was very good. And T'Lyn, for being as limited as she is as a Ranger of Vulcan, she was really good in this. So having Mariner be, it's kind of like Boyman in the DS9 episode, having him very minimal in it, but in a good little side arc is great because it lets other people have time. And thought that was really smart of them to do that, as well as in this regard. Even one set, like just the fact of him pressing the beam button is going to take, let's say, 5 seconds. So they should have known they were going to have for some months going in. Not sure why they thought they were going to have a day, because you can't press it quick enough, right? But hitting the hill there. But if they knew they were going to get, let's say, 6 months of free time, then it's like you are getting a freebie of an experience that you have no repercussions of that is tangibly real. So her making memories, like, yes, I have, I'm off duty basically for 5 months. And yet no time has passed. Yeah. Although I kind of wish this is very unnecessary, but it's more interest for science-ness, how they didn't once mention the change in their appearance, long-term effects. Because are they saying that when, like, they don't do these missions with 9 months in mind? So I was expecting, although it's a very difficult thing to try and play with, that either it fading or them falling off, or they're not being used, or having to take supplements or something. But is this telling us that by this era you can just modify the person and it's not even a concern? They just are the alien species.
Maybe.
Cool.
I mean, Mariner did make a reference that the antenna itch, but
that was in like month 1.
Yeah, I know. That was like right away. She was going to get back.
Like, you know what I mean? That's where we start thinking live action of it. But it's such a precedent to set. It's cool. I just wish they'd said it once. Or like T'Lyn had said, I found a supplement in the Iragon tree that allows me to stabilize our genetic material. And T'Lyn's like, for God's sake. That's a medical thing. I'm the medical person. You could have had to with that.
Yeah, and making them both senior science officer. I don't know how I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, it was going to be both or neither.
Yeah, well, actually, when Rutherford said, "You got the job," she's like, "No." I thought, okay, Dylan got it because Tendi tried to talk her up, and then no, we both got it. I was like, ugh. So it kind of made me think one thing, and then, but yeah,
Yeah, it just makes you question. I mean, it's not a science ship, right? It's a engineering support ship. Therefore, the science, although they do it, is not the top priority. But yeah, to have lieutenant junior grades who ensigns a year and a half ago be the chief science people on the bridge when you've got anybody else is higher rank and more capable.
Yeah.
I mean, not we see many scientists aboard ever, but it was definitely like, just because they're main characters, I would not have. Now, if they said like for night shift, that would have been funny, right? Make it the lowercase version, right? But I don't buy either of them are qualified enough. I mean, Tillin, Fine, Vulcan, fine, but they're not the best science officers for that role, surely. And if they are, that's an indictment on Sridus's science stuff.
The other thing that I kind of thought too was when they spilled stuff all over the transporter console. Would have been funny if they're like, transporter room 2, and they run down the hall, go to the next transporter room, and like it's all powered down for maintenance. You see Livik in there working on the
Livik,
and it's Livik, and then run to another one, and then have to go back to that one because that would have been great. But it was kind of funny seeing them lick off the con. It tastes like Lundy smells. I don't know. That was funny, but I mean, you could have done something small with that. I'm just saying, there's more than one transporter on a ship.
Well, that's the thing. The way they played it, there isn't.
Yeah,
that's entirely the tone they gave. That never once mentioned it. Now, you could argue the time it took to get Transport Room 2 is more than time to fix the console, but it's not working. I would have personally Boimler to Transport Room 2 side beam out now. What's there? Do it now. I'm taking over. Done.
Yeah.
12 seconds.
Yeah.
But they didn't even mention. No, if they'd said, let's go to Transform 2. No, we can't get caught. Let's clean it up. But then you're going to get caught by the girls when they come back up. And, there's going to be residue of your weirdness on it. So, and this is where the dumbness of the Lower Decks cast and crew is like, how do you get through Starfleet and approach anything like that? It's not believable. Although I like the fact that we cut back to it. It's been months and they're still doing, like, it's like a 20 seconds of animated stuff they make for that sequence, but it's played over 30, which I love. That's great framing because it's so short. Although I kind of wish it was almost quicker. Like it literally was just like a wipe and do, but because it was so many minutes, so many seconds, it still took 6 months. You could have played that even further, the joke. I like the fact that for some reason Rutherford is growing his beard now too, and it takes 4 seconds and it's better than Boimler's. Why is that a gag going in? But it amused me, but it's like, okay.
Well, it's like me. I can't grow a beard. I guess it's all patchy like Boimler's.
Yeah, for sure.
And some people are just like, they shave in the morning. They got 5 o'clock
Homer
shadow
Simpson.
at the end of the day. Exactly. So that was kind of funny too. But yeah, his alternate universe counterpart is Rutherford, who's like all cybernetic. So.
Oh, I just think he just thought, like the vibe I got was just, Boimler's not shaving. Let me not try it. Next day.
Yeah.
Oh, great stubble. Like, I'm guessing it's going to be a plot point episode next one, which is a really weird thing to do.
Or it's just a one-time thing like Geordi. Geordi grew a beard once.
He did. Because LeVar refused to shave one day. But no, really fun episode. Really dense. I think one of the tightest scripts of the season. Story was always go, and I really like this sci-fi concept. And like I said, every episode should have been this, right? Especially since we've talked about this. The Alternate Universe portal is this sort of storytelling. Yes, you can't just have them always crash on a planet, but you should have had at least 4 or 5 of this story variant in this season, kind of every second episode. So we've had 2 so far, but you need more of this because this was the end, and you've sort of abandoned it for 6 episodes of the story, or 5. So hopefully we'll get more of this going, because if this now maintains, yay.
Yeah, and that'd be awesome. But guys, let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell icon. All the things to do, even in your alternate universe or whatever. And stop being suspicious lurkers and watching us on screen. And come and interact with us during lives and such. Because we'd rather get to know you than just have you lurk and not say anything.
And you can lurk in person.
Snell. I see you.
Dear me. If you want to support what we do here, as we do all the darn time. Patreon is a great way. It is monthly to help what we do here on the Trekyards, or join the channel on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And it joins us on the channel. It's self-explanatory, right? Or super chat, which is any amount of donation on a live where we're there talking to you in live. You're here talking to us live. It's great. Also, super thanks on any video. So you go back to like episode. Well, I will like this one, or we could just say, oh, episode 97 of Trekyards, $1. And we're like, what? And that's the joke. It's all we need, right? It's all we need.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Until next time. He's Commander Cockings.
He's gonna Foley.
Bye.
Bye, guys.